Raise your hand if you've heard of or read of a fairy tale. Storytelling isn't just fairy tales. It's raising awareness about issues around the world and trying to make an impact in our own capacity. Change and kindness. Two things we need now more than ever to make a difference. Here's a few stories that made a mindset change in my life. I've lived all my life in Sri Lanka, and at 12 years old, I was an introvert at a birthday party, and obviously I found myself hanging out with my mom most of the party. But there was a conversation between my mom and another parent that stuck with me for the rest of my life. The parent asked her, "Aren't you ashamed to speak about your divorce so openly and say that you're a single mom?" Social and cultural norms built to bring down women and men fighting every day to make a difference. Women and men who have gone through mental and physical abuse, fighting every single day. Fast forwarding a few years, mental health was not something I was very aware of. Turning 23, I learned more about it the hard way. I was in a very dark place. Work wasn't working out. My relationship with my mom fighting all the time. Relationship with my partner at the time. Losing friends and changing lifestyles. It was a very dark night, and I chose to attempt suicide. Fortunately for me, my friend found out and stayed the night with me. His love saved me that night. But it did not end there. I've experienced panic attacks for years, causing breathlessness, affecting my work, my life, my decisions. In my culture, a Panadol should solve a panic attack, right? April 21st, 2018. 258 deaths, over 500 people injured in the Easter Sunday attacks in Sri Lanka. Families taken away. Wives lost their husbands. Children lost their parents, and parents lost their children. Children. Their stories no more. Their lives no more. As of 2018, according to statistics, in Australia, 8 people commit suicide every day. In Sri Lanka, 15 people for every 100,000 people commit suicide, with a populace of 21 million people. In 2018, 3,182 people decided to take their lives. For every single person who took their life, 20 more people either attempted or considered suicide. I know a bunch of numbers thrown at you, but here's the fact. People are deciding to end their life due to socioeconomic, family, and individual crises every day. Unemployment, mental health, physical and mental abuse, and even climate change, with the biggest battle amongst us. It's causing loneliness and what's called eco-anxiety amongst our youth. January 2019, I was walking along the beach of Jaffna, the northern province of Sri Lanka. Families hanging out flying kites, couples hanging out, and children running into the water with their mums screaming behind them, "Ingavada," which roughly translates to "come here, man." It was a beautiful sunset as I climbed up this little broken down section. And I saw easily a ton of plastic bottles laid across the floor. Plastic that was consumed by us, plastic that was consciously thrown to the ground by us, plastic that is affecting marine life as we know it, and in turn affecting climate change. But it's affecting our youth again. It's causing a sense of detachment, causing them to feel an impending doom. These are stories every day amongst many others, I'm sure. But there are projects that are working every day to make a difference. such as mental health campaigns, to raise awareness that it's okay not to be okay. The story behind the Smile campaign for I Survive. It's a campaign that's focusing using content on social media to raise awareness saying there is a story behind every single person, providing free and trusted therapy and counseling for people who need it the most, and also eventually workshops for schools, high schools, universities, and corporates, because we're living in a culture where people don't think that mental health exists. They don't think that youth are being crippled every day because they're anxious, they're going through panic attacks. But there are also artists using their talent to continue the stories of lives that were lost. Tahira Rifat, continuing the stories of lives that were lost during the Easter Sunday attacks in Sri Lanka. Say their names, remember their stories. Their families are still going through collective trauma, trauma experienced by a whole community or a country. They're experiencing PTSD and mental illness because of their loss. But continuing their stories gives people hope. It reminds people, you can live, you are alive right now. Take this opportunity to pay it forward. Take this opportunity to help other people out there. Volunteer. Pay it forward. Make a difference. Make change happen. There's also projects around the world that are trying to solve climate change and plastic pollution. Cosplay Cleanup Global, a global sustainability organization that focuses on beach cleanups, but more importantly, focuses on spreading a message of saying, you can be an everyday superhero. Little Superman over here came to me during the beach cleanup and said, hey, Captain America, I'm teaching my dad how to throw trash better. It could be as small as buying a keep cup, a tote bag. It could be being mindful of your purchases and your disposals. It could be attending a beach cleanup with your friends and your family. It's said that building community towards one cause can help solve this loneliness, this eco-anxiety. That there are like-minded people just like you and I fighting for something. I was at a support group one day back in Sri Lanka. And there was this guy who has gone through bullying, decided to cut himself, tried to end his life several times. And he gave me his permission to share his story. And he's gone through various therapists and counselors. And he said, there was one therapist that actually said, maybe it's actually better to end your life. The narrative needs to change. Storytelling needs to begin with all of us to make an impact, to make a change. Instagram and influencers. As soon as I say influencers, people cringe. But what if we used social media for good? What if we used it to spread a message of community instead of self-centeredness? What if we used it to break social stigmas by using social change? These are a few messages that I get when I open up my Instagram. It's because I choose to spread a message of positivity, of kindness, of change. I put out a message across on social media and in person, and I asked one simple question. What does making an impact mean to you? And there was one word that resonated the most. Change. Assalamu alaikum, vanakkam, hello, and ayubowan. 4 languages and cultures back in my hometown, Sri Lanka. But at the end of the day, we're all human. We breathe the same air, we bleed the same color. Bushfires across Australia, destroying thousands of homes and taking lives. Heavy rainfall in Peru, affecting hundreds of families. Volcanoes erupting in Guatemala, Mexico, and the Philippines. A new and fastest spreading virus, tensions across different countries. The death of Kobe Bryant and his 14-year-old daughter, Gianna. And this was January. We have to stand together now more than ever to bring about change. Thank you.